Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss about shareholding pattern analysis. What exactly is shareholding pattern? How do you check the shareholding structure for any company? And why is it a very important factor to look at the shareholding pattern before investing in any company? Let's get started. Okay, starting with shareholding pattern, the structure shows who owns how much stake in the business. So people like you and me, we invest in publicly listed companies. Now, promoters or the owners of the company, they own certain stake in the company. People like you and me, common retail investors, we own a certain stake in the company. And then there are institutional investors, banks, insurance companies, and mutual funds who also own certain stake in those companies. To better understand this, I will be sharing how you can check the shareholding structure for any company. But before that, let's try to understand the important titles that you will be coming across while doing the analysis. Now, these are the three titles that you will come across while doing the analysis: the promoters, the institutional investors, and the general public. So, let's try to understand each one of them. Starting with promoters. So promoter can be a single person or a group of people or an institution who have an active role in managing and running the company. Now usually you will see they are the founders of the company or people who raise capital and bring investments to the company. Now in generic terms we can call them the owners. However, they don't own the complete equity in a company, they own a partial stake of it, so we better call them promoters of the company. Next, we have institutional investors. So these are institutions or companies that deploy their own capital and invest it into other companies. So for example, say banks or mutual fund companies, asset management companies, or insurance companies that invest into other businesses are called institutions. Now they can be divided into DIIs and FIIs. So your DIIs are the domestic players, or you can simply say Indian institutions who invest in other companies are called DIIs, and other foreign institutions who invest in our businesses are called FIIs. Let's take an example. So say for example, SBI Mutual Fund is investing in a certain company, so we'll consider them as a domestic institutional investor. However, say a foreign hedge fund is investing into some businesses in India, it will be considered as an FII because it is a foreign institutional investor. Now, institutional investors investing in any company is usually considered a good sign because they do a lot of their due diligence and they have expertise in understanding the market and understanding the sectors, industries, and companies and identifying potential winners in the long term. And finally, we have general public, people like you and me who invest in companies, often referred to as retail investors. Now, let's quickly see how can we check this shareholding structure for any company. So let's go to screener.in. Now, once you are on the homepage of screener.in, you can search for the company that you are interested in, for example, Reliance Industries. Then on the top navigation bar, if you click on the investors button here, you will come to the shareholding pattern. Now, shareholding pattern, here you will see there are titles which we just discussed, promoters, FIIs, DIIs, public, and you also see government because government owns 0.8% stake in the company. Now, if you look closely, uh, the shareholding is shown quarter on quarter. So if you look at December 2018, promoters had around 47% stake in the company, and since then they have increased. If you look at the current quarter, if you look at September 2021, so the promoter stake has increased to 50.61. Similarly, FIIs own about around 25% and DIIs own around 13%. So roughly about 38% stake in the company is owned by institutional investors, 50% of the stake is owned by the promoters, and the retail public owns around 10.60%. Now if you make a close observation here, you will see that the public shareholding has dropped from 16% to 10.6%. That is around 6% of shareholding is dropped of the public. Now where did this holding actually go? So this has this capital has moved from the public to the institutional investors and promoters. So if you look, the promoters have increased stake. Also, if you see, DII stake has gone from 12% to around 13%, and FII is from 24 to 25%, and even promoters have increased. So in good businesses, you will usually see that institutional investors and promoters, they'll try to increase stake because they see future growth potential, and if public is selling stake, they try to acquire it. So That is how you can analyze the shareholding pattern of any company. Also, if you wish to further see the distribution of promoters, you can click on the plus sign here, and you will get a list of all the promoter companies. You can see the Ambani family, Reliance Welfare Association, Reliance Industrial Infrastructure Limited. All these are promoter companies. Similarly, if you click on the FIIs, you will get a list of all the FIIs that are invested. So, for example, say Euro Pacific Growth Fund owns around 2.43% of stake in the company. So, if I click on Euro Pacific Growth Fund, it will show me a list of all the companies that Euro Pacific Growth Fund has invested in, and also you can see the quarter on quarter change. So, for example, it has around 1.19% stake in Axis Bank, according to the latest quarter. Similarly, you can see for other companies as well. So even HDFC Bank around 2.96%, HDFC Life around 2.13%. So you can also see the shareholding of institutional investors as well. Similarly, if you go back and check for DIIs, even you will see LIC of India. If you click here, you will see all the holdings of LIC of India. So all this data is publicly available, and you can see, you can closely analyze what type of companies are institutions owning, how is the shareholding varying quarter on quarter, what are businesses that institutions are buying. All this you can have a track looking at this data. Now, if there are certain HNIs which are high net individuals investing in companies, then you will also find them in the public section. Now here, since there are none, but I'll show you an example. So for example, if you go to Nazara Technologies and you come to the investors section, and if you click on the public section, you will see a list of HNIs as well. So you can see Rakesh Jhunjhunwala owns around 10.82%, Arpit Khandelwal, Manish Agarwal. So, and you can also check their portfolios if you click here. So this is how you can analyze the shareholding pattern. And similarly, let's try for some other company as well. So let's say TCS. So if I want to look at the shareholding pattern of TCS, I can go to the investors section. I see that the promoters, around 72.19% of equity stake is owned by promoters. FI is own around 15.4%, and DI is own roughly around 7 to 8%. And the public only has 4.5% stake in the company. So this is how you can look at the shareholding pattern. Usually you will see that good businesses, institutional investors have a good stake. Not all companies will have institutional investors in their shareholding pattern. So if institutions are investing, you will see it in the shareholding pattern. And similarly, you can analyze as to which companies institutional investors are interested in, and then you can do the further analysis of is there any growth story of the company, or are you willing to invest in the company. So that's how you can do the analysis. I hope you found this video helpful. If yes, do press the like button and make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on the content that I'm bringing out next. Also hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.